Turning attention now to Prime Minister Modi's visit to Oman. This is the third and final leg of his visit, where he's been conferred with Oman's highest honor by Sultan Tarik himself for Prime Minister Modi's contributions to strengthening bilateral ties between India and Oman. What you see on your screens are those visuals of Prime Minister Modi receiving the award during his ongoing two-day visit to Oman. This is the final leg of his three-nation tour. It started with Jordan, Ethiopia, and it's concluding with Oman. Now, this will be the 29th highest honor for the Prime Minister. He received one in Ethiopia as well, and now he's receiving one in Oman. On your screens are those visuals right now of Prime Minister Modi being conferred with Oman's highest honor in recognition of his efforts to ensure that the ties between the two countries, whether it's the historical, the civilizational, the cultural, all of those ties get strengthened, along with a layer of trade and technology being the big push factor as well. The two sides have signed a trade pact as well. Let's get in Aditya Raj call for more on this. Aditya, we're playing out those visuals as Prime Minister Modi's, he's being conferred the highest honor by Oman.
Well, yes, this is the 29th highest, honor from any country to Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India. In fact, in Muscat, these visuals clearly indicate the strengthening bilateral ties between India and Oman. The Sultan Haitham bin Tarik has conferred the Order of Oman upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi for strengthening the India-Oman relations. As you rightly pointed out, Gauri, earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also received the highest state award from Ethiopia for any foreign dignitary and head of the state. That is clearly indicative of the global diplomatic power push from the Indian government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, clearly indicative of the fact how Indian diplomacy has come, how far it has come over the years, from helping, more than 100 countries during the pandemic with the vaccine to, responding to disasters all across the world. India has been the first responder. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, addressing people in Oman and earlier in Ethiopia, had also spoken about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and how India looks at the entire world as one family. So that is why, most countries have been eager to host Prime Minister with a personal gesture and also awarding him the highest honor, indicative of the fact that how his diplomacy and personal connect and rapport with the global leaders has helped India's diplomacy inch forward and be acceptable around the world. India has been speaking about, the world is one family. That was the theme for the G20 that was hosted by India as well. And now these visuals really bringing in cheer for each and every Indian, because this is not about politics. This is about an Indian Prime Minister who is being honored at a world stage. So this also signifies, Gauri, the India and Middle East connect and the push that has increased drastically over the last decade. And finally, this award ceremony happened just minutes after India and Oman signed the FTA, the free trade agreement that will clearly boost the trade and commerce between both these countries. So India, Middle East and Africa connect, shaping a new world forward with the global south and the Middle East in the prominence, and India being at the center stage of it all, with Prime Minister now receiving the highest honor from Oman, the Order of Oman.
Indeed. That is likely to be a huge pivot for the larger India-Oman relationship. But also, if one were to talk about the highlights of this visit, specifically about Oman, for our viewers tuning in right now, there's been a lot of focus about, Manvi to Muscat, the kind of connectivity that Oman offers to India in terms of being the gateway to Gulf, gateway to the entire region, and the trade pact facilitating all of that going forward. So trade and connectivity, a huge and a key leg of these negotiations between the bilateral negotiations between the two sides.
Well, that's right, Gauri. You put it very, importantly, how significant trade and commerce is between not just India and Oman, but the larger Middle East or West Asia. In this particular case, India and Oman had begun the negotiations for a free trade agreement around November of 2023. And within the 2 years, we've seen mighty progress being made between the trade representatives and the commerce ministries of both countries. We've had high-level visits also taking shape There is people-to-people contact also shaping the new bilateral ties between these both countries. And now the FTA, which is very, very significant. Several of the countries in the West Asia have been very eager to invest in India. Also, there are some, major pillars, including food security and the startup ecosystem, which will gain prominence and a mighty headway once the FTA is, really put into implementation now that the signing ceremony is over. So clearly a big boost for India-Oman ties. It's a win-win situation for both these countries to inch closer when it comes to trade, commerce, the industry tie-up between these countries, and to work not just in the energy sector, not just when it comes to oil and energy, but in the information technology, the startup ecosystem, and of course the food security.
Now, let's talk now also in terms of specifics with regard to trade. It's about a $10 billion kind of a trade, and with a free trade pact being in place, there is expectation that this could actually double up in the next couple of years. You've been speaking to your sources, Aditya. What are they telling you in terms of the outlook that this trade pact positions and puts forth in terms of the bilateral relationship?
Well, India is, registering a growth of more than 8%, and with the mighty population that we have and the kind of ecosystem that has been developed by the Indian government, who wouldn't want to actually invest in India and try to have much more engagement when it comes to trade and commerce. So, the entire situation that is building up right now is clearly indicative of the fact of how Oman deal adds heft to India's West Asia trade strategy and the rising trade between India and the Middle East.
Right.
So, as of now, of course, India is also trying to shape up an agreement with the European Union, and that could be into the cards perhaps in the next few weeks and months. But the deal comes as talks for a trade deal with the Gulf Cooperation Council did not unfortunately materialize, but India will now have a deal with the two members of the GCC, which includes Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. So clearly, as this inches forward, there is much more global cooperation with India that is expected, especially from the West Asian world that is very eager to connect with India.
All right, Aditya, thanks much for joining us. The trade pact between India and Oman adds huge heft to New Delhi's larger trade push towards the entire region.